Hi, my name is Juan, and I am the first negative on our topic, which is we're the negative of saying that we shouldn't increase the lifetime of the welfare from 60 months. Cole did talk about the TNF law, but he forgot to mention that the states are allowed to have some flexibility on the time limit. So the federal state said yes, you can only have 60 months cap, but the states can change it to max at 48 months or to prolong it based on some circumstances. And here it is. Okay. So we did mention that that the heresy is that it hurts many children, but in fact that some welfare in California, such as the here it is. The CalWorks. The CalWorks welfare program, which is the program that gives cost aid and services to eligible needy California families, and it is capped at 48 months. But a child can be extended if their parents no longer receive it, but they can receive the aid up to their 19 years of age. He did say that he said that the flaw is that there's not enough pay, which is true. I'll get to the solvency. He said that it takes that the welfare costs $16.5 billion, but I found on welfare statistics and demographics that's 67,891,000 people on welfare. That 158 billion government spending goes on to welfare, which is 19% of the federal budget and income. On the non-income, on the federal budget.
You want to stop and use some of your prep time?
Yeah.
And think for a couple minutes? Because you still have 4 minutes of prep time. Take a couple minutes to think and we'll come back. Let's see. You have 3 minutes of prep time left.
So on insolvency, he said that that the federal government spends $16.6 billion on the welfare program. But what I found was that on the war on poverty 50 years later, on the budget, that the federal government spent $799 billion on these programs in the fiscal year of 2012. So I don't think that the cost would significantly decrease that much from $799 billion to $116.5 billion. And the current it's this one on the welfare budget. It says that the welfare budget is comprised of 13 large programs. These programs spent without Medicare is $379 billion, and with Medicare in 2016 it was $740 billion, and this is 19% of spending of the entire federal government. So when he says that it won't really affect our budget or the federal budget, well, it will. So if we prolong the time limit, or the time we spent, how much money we spent on the people that need the money will significantly increase longer and longer. And he did mention something about that they're typical people or some sort of that, and or some negative connotation on people that use welfare. And I found that I found something on about welfare fraud. Welfare fraud that they found is that the improper welfare payments, including fraud, are estimated about 10.1% of all the federal welfare payments, which ended up being a total of $71.1 billion in 2015. That's a lot. That's a lot of money based on the welfare, the federal welfare. And so if we prolong the period of the welfare, that means these people will have no worry about, oh, I don't have to claim this no more, or something like that. And what they mean by welfare fraud, what they mean by that is funds that go to the wrong recipient. There is insufficient amount of documentation stating that they don't actually need it, but they say, oh, I don't have that, or that the recipients use the funds improperly. Thank you.